The Southern African Development Community SADC is an intergovernmental organization. Its goal is to further socio-economic cooperation and integration, as well as political and security cooperation among 15 Southern African states. The origins of SADC can be traced way back in the 1960s and 1970s, when the leaders of the majority-ruled countries and national liberated movements coordinated their movements, political, diplomatic, and military struggles to bring an end to minority rule in Southern Africa. This made the formation of Southern African Development Coordination Conference, the Socio-Economic Cooperation in 1980. Malawi is one of the 15 forming members of this regional grouping. In 1992, the Southern African Development Corporation was transformed into SADC. SADC seeks to achieve sustainable development, economic growth, poverty alleviation, and standard of living for the people of Southern Africa to support the social disadvantaged through regional integration. The Council of Ministers is responsible for overseeing the function and development of SADC and ensuring that policies are popularly implemented. It is against this background that the SADC ICT SCOM and Ministers Meeting, responsible for communication, postal, and ICT, is convening at Sunbed in Kopala Lodge, Mangochi District in Malawi. The meeting is hosted by the Minister of Information, Tourism and Culture of Malawi in collaboration with the Malawi Communications Regulatory Authority, MAGRA. This is in Kopala Lodge, along the lake, where the ministers and principal secretaries from the 15 SADC member states are meeting. The ICT meeting, which started on Friday, 18th November 2014 to Saturday, 22 November 2014. At this meeting, the main issue is to focus on the ICT, which aims to facilitate the creation of an enabling environment for efficient, effective, and sustainability utilization, exploitation, and development of ICT in all sectors of economy in order to attain an information and knowledge-based society and economy. ICT plays an important role in any economy, and it contributes to socio-economic development of the region through maximum integration. The Principal Secretary for Information, Mrs. Chimwemwe Banda, had this to say.
We need to have information and technology. Are we doing the right thing as a region? We should be able to access, to have telephones in all our rural areas. We should have internet in all our areas, our communities, and even deep down in different areas of the SADC region. So this is the planning meeting where officials would want to conclude issues that are concerning ICT so that we have, as a region that is working towards ICTs in all countries.
She said the 15 member states will be discussing and have conclusions on issues such as there should be reasonable charges when making calls on mobile phones and internet services for countries within the SADC region. This, she said, will include accelerating regional integration, inclusion of rural and isolated population, enhancing competitiveness, and maximizing economic development. This meeting is a continuation of the issues that were extensively discussed in Swaziland from 22nd to 30th September 2014. In Swaziland, they discussed comprehensively in the following areas: policy, standards and regulations, ICT's infrastructure development, SADC regional postal services development, regional and international coordination, and proposed priorities for 2015-2016 year. Dr. Eng Samuel Kunshore said the extraordinary ICT meeting will, among other things, focus on SADC home and away roaming and will consider the draft ICT and postal implementation action matrix and connectivity to postal offices.
As a continuation of what we discussed in the Kingdom of Swaziland in September, and I think, Principal Secretary, the issues we discussed in Eswini ranged from policy issues. We discussed the ICT infrastructure development. We also discussed the SADC regional postal services development and international coordination, particularly through interconnections and roaming, as has been said. The home and away roaming, as has been mentioned, is something which should reach finality at this meeting. We were given a directive by ministers, and I think as officials we are duty bound to deliver on that directive. I also, through you, guest of honor, wants to say that ICTs are very critical, and we as officials take this very seriously, and we wish to play our part, not only in terms of formulating and developing policies and submitting them to our seniors, but also to do the implementation, which I think is very, very critical.
Speaking on Wednesday, November 19, 2014, when officially opening SADC ICT Senior Officials Meeting in Mangochi, Honorable Kondwani Nkhani said Malawi government is committed to ensuring that people in SADC region recognize the importance and benefits of enhanced cooperation in harnessing the powers of information and communicate on technologies, ICTs, for socio-economic development at all levels.
Is that ICT is no longer a side issue or someone else's job, but is for each one of us and cuts across all sectors of life. This is everyone's responsibility. Looking at your 2 days agenda, I am happy to note that you are making every effort to ensure that our region advances technologically. Not because ICT is a goal in itself, but because it is the means of our attaining of other goals, from health to education, from inclusive growth to gender equality, and many more.
The meeting is taking place when we only have a few months away from the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, digital migration deadline of 17th June 2015, upon which Southern African renaissance can be built on and sustained. SADC countries must all work hard to realize the vision of the founding fathers, whose dream was to develop the region into a leader on the global market.
As SADC, we are aware that the international experience has shown that ICT, if harnessed, can contribute significantly to the economic development of countries and facilitate the provision of a better life for the citizens. For example, look at the power of the mobile money service. Across our developing countries, small shops are where people buy vouchers to top up their calling credit. Mobile money services allow these small retailers to act rather like bank branches. They can take your cash and credit it to your mobile money account. You can then transfer the money via text message to other registered users who can withdraw it by visiting their own local corner shops. The beauty of this is that we are using ICT to have these funds compensate for inadequate infrastructure, such as bad roads and slow postal services, allowing information to move more freely, making markets more efficient and unleashing entrepreneurship. All this has a direct impact on economic growth.
This is the time for SADC to claim its rightful place on the global world by making its voice known, not by just moving with the trends and keeping pace with technology, but also by leading innovations in the ICT sector that others can learn from.
The first thing is the investment in the infrastructure and the coordination of the infrastructure across countries, that we have the adequate, particularly the broadband infrastructure. It's going to be very critical for us to go into modern information society. But linked to that is going to be the issue of the skills. The e-skills for utilization of these technologies, we have to produce them en masse. I'm not talking here about the high-tech engineers, which we need so much, but just for the ordinary people so that they can utilize the ICT for their development.
Honorable Siabonga Twele therefore said it is his sincere hope that the SADC ICT Ministers meeting will develop plans and strategies towards the fulfillment of the common goals in the ICT sector for the mutual benefit of all people in the region.
Instead of doing it as individual countries, we must now learn from the other countries that have migrated into, like for example, Malawi have done that, Tanzania have done that. So other countries in the SADC region must visit you, must visit Tanzania. How do you do? Because if you don't do it in Zambia, it means what you're doing here, we have an overflow into Zambia, and that becomes the problem. So unless we work together as a region and get the benefits of the industry together, we want to achieve the aim of bringing ICT into the region, into the hands of our people. So we must work together as a region, as in the first of us countries work hard, calling as a region. That way the region will be able to migrate together and get the benefits together. Otherwise, if one country migrates, if you don't do, then the benefit is almost zero. So yes, we must work together as a region and everything else.
Ministers' meeting will facilitate the crafting and refocusing of a roadmap for the effective implementation of ICT, postal and broadcasting technologies, and related programs in the region.
This milestone meeting to be held here today is a historic one. It is a defining moment in the history of ICT in our region, and no doubt your discourse as ministers and resolutions shall have a far-reaching impact on the landscape on ICT in the region, making SADC a beacon of hope a region of promise in the area of ICT as a catalyst for development. I'm confident that as we go into this session, we shall be guided by the spirit of regional integration and collectivity, which characterizes the hallmark of SADC as an organization, whose programs are informed by the principles of relevance, effectiveness, and efficiency.
At the end of the ministers' meeting, they approved a new list of SADC region priority projects to be undertaken during the year 2015-2016 pertaining to ICT infrastructure development, policy, standards and regulation, SADC regional postal services development, and regional and international coordination. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Tourism and Culture, Mrs. Chimumebanda, described the progress in meeting global analog terrestrial television switch-off date as a mixed bag, as others have migrated, while others up to now have not. Speaking at Nkobolo Lodge in Maputo, during an official opening of the 8th SADC Digital Terrestrial Television Broadcasting DTT, Chimumebanda said the International Telecommunications Union, ITU, has set 17th June 2015 as a global analog terrestrial television switch-off date.
As you might be aware, digital terrestrial television is revolutionizing and terrestrial broadcasting industry by enabling it to provide better picture and sound quality and more choices for the viewer, in addition to new, innovative and value-added services on a wider range of platforms. Gone are the days of analog broadcasting content creation. I will not endeavor to go into specifics of digital migration, as that is what we will be doing today, and I would not want to preempt the detailed presentations and discussions.
SADC countries should remember that a smooth digital broadcasting transition in SADC region can only be realized through a harmonized and concerted strategy. SADC Executive Secretary Representative, who is Senior Programs Officer responsible for communication and ICT at SADC, Mrs. Cecilia Mamelodi Onyadiri, said it was pertinent that SADC member states found solutions to challenges they are facing to become a leader in DTT. She appealed to the meeting to look into issues of availability and distribution of set-top boxes, infrastructure sharing, human capital development, public awareness, economic beneficiation, and SADC TV bouquet.
And this meeting is very important to note that this is the last DTT forum that will be convening prior to the date of the 17th of June 2015. So it is a very important forum, because this is the forum which will allow us to introspect and see, are we really ready? Are we all going to migrate into digitalization by the time of the deadline? So our appeal to you as a secretariat is that as we go through our discussions in the next 2 days, it is very important to bear in mind the identified common challenges that member states have been facing up to now in the implementation of the SADC roadmap. And among some of the challenges, the common challenges amongst member states are the issues around set-top box availability, the cost of set-top boxes, infrastructure sharing, accountability by partners in the migration, and sometimes in some member states a lack of a structured approach to the implementation, issues around human capital development, around management, technical and operational skill, public awareness and campaigns, production, availability of content and privacy, finance, general funding and economic beneficiation, and lack of stakeholder participation and management. A number of processes have taken place, and I believe our Project Management Office has visited every single SADC member states. So we look forward to a consolidated report in terms of where we are as a SADC region.
She therefore appealed to all member states to work diligently and ensure that at the end of the day, countries all together meet the deadline and migrate for the socio-economic development of our citizens. At the end, the SADC Secretariat was encouraged to produce standard material for awareness campaigns to assist member states to communicate uniform messages. Member states to utilize project management tools as developed by SADC DTT PMO, including the Project Plan Basic Register. Encourage member states to initiate bilateral negotiations with neighboring countries on frequency planning and digital dividend dispensation. Indeed, the 2014 SADC Ministers Meeting Summit was a success and would go a long way in putting Malawi on the world map as Malawi continues to make tremendous efforts to attain the Regional Infrastructure Development Plan vision of 2027.